Mediation is the process of sitting together with a mediator and trying to bring black and white to gray. That's the best way to look at what mediation is. So you can sit with a mediator with your counsel. So it could be two litigants, two attorneys, and the mediator, or you can choose to mediate without counsel. If you choose the second route, you can choose a qualified mediator. You can choose an attorney. You can choose a retired judge. You could choose a religious mediator. So there's a plethora of mediators available. When you decide who you want to work with to mediate for you, the person who you're going to choose to be the mediator, you want to look at the credentials available for your specific need. If you have a high conflict, asset dense situation, you're probably going to want to find a mediator who has an understanding of high conflict situations and how to analyze a financial arrangement that's going to best suit the both of you. Because again, the purpose of mediation is to bring black and white to gray. So it's not going to be one-sided. If you have a situation where it's more child-based and your child has special needs, well, in that situation, you may want to hire a mediator who has an understanding of custody factors, significant custody debates. You may want to bring in a therapist to assist in that conversation. So when you're dealing in mediation, you're really dealing with not only how to come to resolution, but knowing that you might need to bring in other professionals to help find that resolution, because sometimes it's a little bit more complicated than meets the eye. Mediation will always be substantially cheaper than litigation if, and only if, two parties enter mediation with the common goal of candor and completion. If either party enters a mediation without the intention of sharing all the information, being candid, and a goal towards completing, then you are going to have a very costly mediation. Money which would have been better used to plan your litigation. Mediation is not an option for people who have experienced a significant disparity in the household. What I mean by that is if there's domestic violence, if there is financial control, if there is a pattern of threatening behavior, or if you live in a religious community where one party is customarily financially oppressed, meaning that they are not really brought into the financial conversations. If you are someone who is not in the know of your marital assets, your marital income, what, where, and how, then mediation may not be your best first route. It does not mean, however, that you have to litigate. It means that you have to participate in a process that allows you to gather information so that you can sit at that table with knowledge. Everyone wants to avoid trial or going to court. I hear that all the time. I don't want to go to court. The goal, however, is not to not go to court. The goal is to have an economically beneficial process. So you want to spend as little as you can to get the right result for your family. That's really how you should be walking into your separation or your new norm. You want to be conscious of the money with an understanding that if you have to go the full litigation route, which means going to a trial, so a judge is making decisions for you, that is going to be much, much more costly than two people being reasonable and sitting at a table. It does not, however, mean that it is the wrong way to go, because that may be how you have to do it. You may not be working with someone who's going to sit at a table and be fair. And is that fair to you? No. But is that a reality? It could be. When choosing mediation or litigation, i.e. going to court, you're always going to want to go the route where you're in control, mediation. However, an inability to mediate does not necessarily mean that you have to go the full way to court. There is a hybrid solution. Consider mediation if and when you feel knowledgeable enough to sit at a table and come up with a fair resolution that affords both of you the ability to move forward into your next chapter. If you need help with that, give us a call, Jersey Coast Family Law.